So, hello everyone. So, today we are going to be having a small discussion on the topic penetration testing. So, we are going to mainly focus on the topic internal penetration testing. So, let's move to the slides. So, first of all, what is internal penetration testing? So, penetration testing, also called pen testing or ethical hacking, is the practice of testing a computer system, networks, or web application to find vulnerability that an attacker could exploit. Penetration testing can be automated with software applications or performed manually. So there are two types of ways of attacking machines. That is, one is automated and the other is manual pen testing. So what is the need of a penetration test? So in a company, if the main aim of the penetration tester is to find the flaws and fix them before the bad guy does that. So the attacker or the black hat who is trying to get into the company system and steal valuable information and sell it to other companies in any media, say dark web. Uh, the main aim of the penetration tester or the team who is leading the penetration testing may need to ensure that there is no breach of data, credentials, and important data, right? So penetration testing is now a very emerging field. Almost every company has its own penetration testing team and a head to lead that team. Okay, so there are different domains in penetration testing. So web application is also there. So yeah, so clients may ask you to make their web application secure for their company, or they may ask you to do some internal pen test or external pen test. It depends. Okay, so yeah. So what are the essential things that a pen tester need to do? So the first thing is note keeping. So note keeping is a very important thing that every pen tester should know. So yeah, let's move forward. So yeah, in order to do a better note keeping, you should have better softwares, right? So one of the most recommended and widely used software is Cherry Tree. So let me show you how Cherry Tree looks like. So as you can see, I have Cherry Tree already installed here. So let's boot that up. Okay, you can use any of your tools like so there are Microsoft's own note keeping tool. You can use mousepad if you want, but if you're using mousepad, it may be difficult for you to include pictures, right? So in Cherry Tree, you could also do notes and subnotes, and you could also add many note as you want. So here is a small info about a box that I did in Hack the Box. So as you can see, there is a nmap scan, and there are some other important information mentioned. So I use this to keep a track on how things are carried out. So we are performing a pen test, and we need to use the same data or same information that we found during some phases of ethical hacking, right? So yeah, let's move forward. So that's about note keeping. You could use any tool you want. So one main thing why I use this territory is, so you can see you can add a note and also add a subnote. So you can go ahead and add a subnote and say that you perform some scanning. So we will cover that section in a little bit. Okay, and you hit OK. As you can see, scanning. Now you can go exploitation, and you can go in what report you want to submit to your client. Okay, yeah, that's about node keeping. So let's move forward. Now, as a pen tester, you need to have a good networking skills. So having a good networking skill means you are becoming a very good pen tester. So every pen tester has either a background of working in a networking field, or they might have certain relevant certifications which proves their experience in networking. So yeah, there are several entry level certs that you can take in order to get a good knowledge about Linux and also in networking. I recommend doing CompTIA Security Plus or Linux Plus or Network Plus by CompTIA. That's very, it teaches a lot of you basics and also how to manage networks and other stuff. Okay, CCNA is also a very good course. Yeah. After that, yeah, let's talk about the first thing, that's IP address. So what is an IP address? So IP address is a unique address that is assigned to a device that is connected to the internet. So any device that is connected to the internet is assigned a particular address to the to the for example, say if a mobile device is attached to the internet, then the ISP will provide a unique address to that mobile phone. Or if you are taking in the case of a LAN network, where different computers and mobile phones are attached to the LAN network, then it is also a situation where your router assigns you a particular IP address. And the router is assigned with a particular IP address by the ISP. Okay, so there are different classes of IP address, right? So there are class A, class B, class C, and loopback address. So as you can see, a loopback means also local host. So let's go ahead and see how in the practical scenario how it is implemented. So here I have my Kali machine booted up. So you can use any distro of your choice. So I'm using Kali because I found it to be more more useful, right? So yeah, let's just clear this up and open a new terminal, right? Yeah. Okay, now that I have opened a new tab, let's just type in the command ifconfig, right? If I try to hit enter, then you can see that ifconfig command not found. It's just because that ifconfig is not cannot be used as an ordinary user. It requires some of the privileged users permission. So who is a privileged user in Linux? So most of you may know a user called root who is having the maximum privileges, who can cd into other folders and view other users files and folders, right? So I'm going to be using sudo account for this. In order to switch to sudo, you can use sudo su and hit it will prompt your password. So default Kali password in 2020 destroys Kali itself. You can hit enter, and you can see now I am root. So why did I convert why did I change from Kali to root? So because I want to execute the ifconfig command without specifying the sudo, right? So if I type in the command ifconfig, you can see that INET, which means internal IP address, which is 192.168.1.8. As you can see, there is also a net mask that is specified. So net mask stands for the, yeah, I will explain what is the significance of net mask. So as you can see here, it's specified that 255, 255, and 255, which means that that particular value is fixed. You cannot go ahead and alter that value, which means that you cannot alter 192.168.1 because here it says that 255, 255, 255 is fixed and 0. As you can see here, 0. So it says that 256 hosts can be connected to this network. Okay, that in a local area network, 256 hosts can be connected. So that's, and you can also see either it is specified that it is connected using ETH0 interface. So what is ETH0 interface? ETH0 interface means it's an Ethernet port, right? So it is connected to using Ethernet port. My Kali, which is running on VMware, is trying to communicate with my host machine using the Ethernet port. So as you can see, here's the loopback address. We have already seen this in the slide that I show you. And also there is a term zero address. This is just because that I connected to a VPN file. You need not worry about that. Okay. So that's pretty much it about IP address. So you can see also there's one more thing. Yeah, there is a broadcast address also present in it. Okay. we need to see to know sometimes why there is a broadcast address specified particularly over there. Okay, yeah, that's about loopback, and this is about tunneling. Okay, now let's see how a particular IP address is assigned to a device, right? So yeah, I have an image that will tell you how it is particularly assigned. The router is particularly assigning an IP address. Let's take a peek on that. Wait a minute to load that. Yeah, as you can see, this is the router, right? This is the router that's sitting in your home. You see, this is a laptop, this is a desktop, and say a mobile phone. Here, a mobile phone is connected, and the router is assigning every device in order, every device a unique address called IP address, right? This is because router. For example, consider here is our ISP. ISP is giving information to the router. So router wants to know to whom he wants to pass this data, right? So in order to do that, router use something called ARP table, which maps the particular IP address of the device, say 192.168.0.81, to the particular MAC address of that device. That way, router know how to forward the request to a particular device. So, if imagine that in a home network, if the router is providing you internet, then if you are connected to the internet, then you will be assigned to the IP address 92.168.0.1 0 point something, according to how many devices that are connected to your router. So that's about routers assigning IP address. Also, there is one more thing. If you want to see if there are several interfaces of specifying interfaces of where you can access internet, and you want to know which interface you are, and if you want to know what is a particular IP address that is assigned to in a particular interface, then you can specify E0 here. So as you can see, it is showing my particular internal IP address. Okay, so let us move forward. So this is about private IP address that is also assigned to a device. So in our home network, we need to note that it is class C, in which 192.168.0.01, which is assigned to the device in our home network. It is considering that only 256 host is needed. Okay, yeah, let's move forward. So next is the TCP UDP three-way handshake, right? Okay, so we were talking about UDP and TCP, right? So UDP and TCP stands for UDP stands for User Datagram Protocol. TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol. So these are the two main protocols that we in a real pentest scenario will come in contact with. Okay, most often we will deal with TCP ports, or which is also known as Transmission Control Protocol. Okay. So, what is the major difference between a UDP and TCP? So there is a somewhat a difference between both of them. Okay, so UDP is a connectionless protocol. That's why in most scenarios we won't see UDP everywhere. Whereas TCP is a connection-oriented protocol, which means TCP uses something called a three-way handshake in order to communicate with each other. Whereas UDP provides datagram service, TCP provides stream service. UDP provides no flow of control, sequencing, and error recovery. There is no guarantee that if you send a packet to a client, or say that target machine, if you are sending a request, UDP request to a target machine, there is no guarantee that that particular packet reaches the target machine. Okay, so what is TCP? TCP calls TCP on their hands, whereas TCP handles the flow control, sequencing, and error recovery. Okay, so TCP, if the three-way handshake wasn't successful, then TCP would make that connection break and will start a new TCP three-way handshake to recover from the error that it made. Okay, so in UDP handles designation among the processes in the same host by means of service and port numbers, whereas in TCP handles designation among processes in the same host by means of port number service. Okay, I hope you understood what is the difference between UDP and TCP. The main difference is UDP is a connectionless protocol, whereas TCP is a connection-oriented protocol which uses three-way handshake in order to communicate. Okay, in order to communicate between two machines. Yeah. Okay, what is three-way handshake? Three-way handshake is a connection that is used by TCP in order to communicate between a server and a host or any two machines. Let's say here we have a host A and here we have a server. So how is the connection happening? So host A sitting here sends a SYN packet to the server machine, right? So host A sends a SYN packet to the server machine. So server machine acknowledges that SYN packet and sends back a SYNAC packet. Yes, it sends back a SYNAC packet. Now host A will transfer an ACK packet as soon as it receives a SYNAC packet. Okay, so first it sends a SYN, then it sends a SYNAC, then server sends a ACK. So we will see how this is implemented in the real world. If for example, if you want to relate this to a real world scenario, it's just like that you are going out to your neighbor and you are calling him. Okay, that is SYN, and your neighbor responds back, hey, then it is SYNAC. Okay, then you say, let's start a conversation. It's just like we are going to start a conversation with the friend. Okay, now let's see how this is implemented in the real world. Yeah, in order to do that, I'm using Kali, and to demonstrate that I have a tool called Wireshark. Okay, I'm going to use a tool called Wireshark. Yeah, let's go ahead and hit Wireshark and ampersand in order to run it in backward. So one thing that you need to understand is Wireshark is a tool that is used to sniff packets. Okay, Wireshark can be used to sniff packets that are flowing through the computer network. I hope you understand what's the use of Wireshark. So in every situation, Wireshark can be implemented to capture encrypted passwords and email IDs. So Wireshark is also a dangerous tool which can be used to sniff the packets by attacker. If you are dealing with a site that's not HTTPS, then chances are that if you enter credentials, the attacker can steal your credentials very easily with the help of Wireshark. Okay. Okay, now that we have our Wireshark load here, there's a problem, right? Wireshark, we have to check that if Wireshark is listening or capturing the request in the right interface. So you can see it specifies it's 0 and it detected some traffic here. Okay, let's go ahead and click this fin-like structure here. Okay, shark's fin. And if you hit capture, you have to wait for a minute or so. Yeah, you can see there is different, so you can see there are lot and chunks of data that are flowing, right? So in order to demonstrate how a TCP three-way handshake, I'm going to use the help of Firefox. I'm going to communicate my machine to I'm going to communicate my machine to google.com. and Google will respond us with the help of a TCP three-way handshake. So let's do that. I'm going to use Firefox for this demonstration. I'm running it in the background. So here you can see that it says that it's ETH0 is currently analyzing the ETH0 interface. Okay. Now wait for the Firefox to open up. Yeah. Yeah, as you can see, my Firefox is loaded up, and I can go to www.google.com. At the same time, make sure that your interface is listening on it. Sorry, your Wireshark is listening on it, or you can see that your browser is making a request to the inner web. So I click enter. So you can see it's make a connection with the Google. Let's see if that TCP handshake was captured successfully. Okay. If you take a close look, I think this is it. You can see an act packet right now. Let's just keep looking. I don't think that's it. Yeah. If you take a closer look here, you can see that there are lots of sync ACK packets that are flowing, right? So as you can see, my machine is trying to make connection with this 172.217.31.91.195. Then that machine just responded with a SYNAC packet. So you can see 172.195 has responded to me with a other SYNAC packet, and then I have sent, as you can see, to 172.217.31.195 a ACK packet. So what just happened? I just sent a SYNAC, and ACK. This is called a three-way handshake, and we performed a TCP connection with what? With Google.com, and we saw that how a TCP three-way handshake worked in that practical scenario. Okay, I hope you understood about three-way handshake. Now, let's just go ahead to back to our slides. Okay, so that's about three-way handshake. Yeah. Now, what are the steps that are performed by a hacker in a day-to-day pen test scenarios? So there are certain steps that every hacker performs, even if it's a web application pen testing or any type of other pen test that you are carrying out, then every hacker keeps in the following steps, or they follow these steps. Okay, the first is reconnaissance, then scanning, gaining access, maintaining access, and clearing tags. Well, these steps can be actually implemented in a real world scenario, which means that if you are performing a pen test for a company, you have to make sure that you cover all these steps. And if you are just practicing in any platform, say if you are practicing it in a home network, and you just and you just tried to make a vulnerable server in your home network, and you are trying to attack that. Then there is no need of reconnaissance and maintaining access and clearing tracks. You only need to perform two steps, that is scanning the machine and gaining access. And also, if you want, you can maintain access. Okay. So yeah, for what is reconnaissance? Reconnaissance means information gathering the information about the company in real world scenario. If you're focusing on a company, say HCL, then you are going out to their website, gathering as much as information as you can, gathering information about their employees, gathering information about their revenue, gathering information as much as you can. Okay. Yeah, that's about reconnaissance. But there are two kinds of reconnaissance. One is active and other is passive reconnaissance. Uh, you can perform both of them on a real world scenario. But as I told you, in home networks, if you are setting up a vulnerable machine, I recommend using active reconnaissance. In active reconnaissance, you are directly engaging with the target. Chances are there when you are performing active reconnaissance, the IDS or the firewall picks up your request, which means that any connection that you're trying to make is just captured by the firewall, and the network managers or network system administrators knows that there is some kind of activity that is going within your firewall and network. Okay. And scanning means you're scanning the default 1000 and or 65,000 TCP ports and UDP port in order to see which all ports are open, and you need to check that if that port is running the latest version or not. Then you will generate some shell codes, or you will find the exploit for in order to gain access. Okay, so this, I think we are now going fully hands-on. So we will not be using any slides from now onwards. Okay, we are going to see how we could attack a machine in the real world scenario. So in order to demonstrate this, how we are going to attack a machine in a real world scenario, I have set up a vulnerable machine called Keyoptrix. So Keyoptrix is available in Walnut. So you can go ahead and type in Keyoptrix Walnut and download it from the internet itself. So Keyoptrix has several levels of difficulty. If you go through Keyoptrix documentation, you will find several walkthroughs also. But I will show you how you could go ahead and scan the target and perform the steps before the hacker and gain access to the machine. Okay, so let's just wait until the machine just loads up. So you can see there are several information that is loading in. So before that, let's just talk about Nmap. So the first step in pen testing is scanning. Okay, so there is enumeration. I told you we are not dealing with the real world application. So the two things that we need to cover is scanning, and other main thing that we need to cover is gaining access. Okay, gaining access using exploit that we can find. Okay, now we need to scan the network. So one of the most famous tools that is used to scan the network is Nmap. If you type in Nmap and hit enter, then you will see a ton of data flowing. Okay, let's just use the parameter dash dash help. As you can see, there are several extensions. Actually, Nmap is a great tool. There are several scripts that you can run against the target, covering three aspects of open ports, TCP plus UDP. So I'm going to type in Nmap, okay, and use some additional parameters. But before going through Nmap, you need to know if you are pen testing or in a network, or in a LAN network, say in your home network, you know that there is a vulnerable machine and you need to attack. You need to identify what's the IP address of that machine. In order to do that, we have a tool called Net Discover. So I'm going to type in Net Discover and hit enter. So you can see it needs pseudo privileges. So hit enter. Ask my password and hit card. Then So you can see it says IP address, MAC address, count, LAN, MAC, vendor, and hostname. And it immediately identified all the machines within the network. And you can see one says VMware. So we know that our machine is hosted in VMware, right? We can see that our Kiotrix machine is hosted in VMware. So we can confirm that this is the IP address of the target machine that we are going to attack. So first we are going to scan that machine, right? But actually the thing that's happening behind the scenario is something different. It's called ARP scan. So I told you about ARP table, right? So there is a tool that is used to do ARP scan. First, if you need to see ARP table, you can also type in ARP tag A. It also needs pseudo privileges. So yeah, as you can see, it is correspondingly mapped to this is actually my router's IP address. It is correspondingly mapped to a MAC address and specified as other. Okay. Now let's go ahead and do an ARP scan. So what does ARP scan do? So ARP scan helps you to scan the network just as how NetDiscover do the things. So actually NetDiscover help you to identify the interface and perform automatic scanning. Okay. So I'm going to type in sudo app scan data interface. So what does this mean? So interface means that I told you there are several interfaces: ETH0, LAN 0, Wi-Fi 0. So LAN 0 also stands for Wi-Fi. And you could go ahead and type in interface equal to ETH0. Okay. And one more thing, if you're running on the Windows machine, you could also grab your IP and go into CMD and wait for a sec. Sorry. Okay, let's hit enter. Yeah, and sudo app scan tag interface equal to ETH0, specifying that you are the Ethernet that you are using the Ethernet to access the internet. So as you can see, I'm running PowerShell. And if you want to see that, you can go ahead and type in ipconfig and wait. As you can see, now I'm connected to wireless and Wi-Fi, right? And my PV4 address is shown here. That's 192.168.1.17. So that's my IP address. There's also IPv6 address shown here. Well, we don't use IPv6 in most penetration testings. We use the IPv4. Okay? There's also the default gateway that's shown here. So let's move forward and do our app scan. So if you could see that I have specified my sudo app scan tag interface equal to ETH0, and I'm going to specify a parameter called local net. So in order to show that I'm working in local area network, if I hit enter, then you can see it gave me the same result that the NetDiscover showed here. Okay, NetDiscover showed here. Yeah. So that's actually when you run the command NetDiscover, it just fills the interface part and does this app scan for you. So you could either run NetDiscover or app scan. So now that we have identified our machine to be 192.168.1.9, we should go ahead and copy that selection. Now we should perform an nmap scan, right? Let's clear the screen. In order to perform an nmap scan, you need to specify first nmap, right? I told you about that. Then you need to specify different flags. So the first flag that I'm going to specify is that SV to perform service version scan. We need to know that if that TCP port if that particular TCP port is running the latest version or older version, we need to gather some information about the service version that is running in that particular machine, right? Then it uses nmap uses certain default scripts in order to perform service detection. So in order to use that, I'm going to specify or pass the parameter tag sc, which means default scripts. Okay, now I'm going to specify at what speed you want to go. So there are several speed range that you can access. You can access T1 to T5. So T1 is very slow, T5 is very fast. If you run T5, chances are there that you might miss some of the words. So I recommend going T4. Okay, now I can go ahead and type in my typing machine's IP address. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. And I'm going to specify my machine's IP address. That is 192.168.1.9, right? That's my key optics machine. Let's just verify that. Yeah, and hit enter. Let's just wait for some time. Okay, there is one more thing. You could also specify tag A, tag A, tag capital A to show that you should perform service version scan, service script scan, and everything that you need to run a stealthy scan, that you want every details that you could possibly connect from an Nmap scan. Okay, by default, Nmap will scan the first 1,000 ports. Okay, and if you want, you could also specify the tag SU flag in order to perform a UDP scan. So I'm currently focusing on TCP scan. If we don't get any idea about the TCP scan results, then we could go and perform some UDP scans. I'm not saying that you should completely leave UDP scans, because chances are there that you might find some of the interesting services that are running in UDP part. Okay, now since it needs some time to finish the scan. Okay, so during that time, I will explain you about the different output that we are going to get from this Nmap scan, right? So you need to have an idea about the different protocols that you are going to see in the output about TCP ports. There are some common ports in TCP that you must be familiarized with. So the few of the common ports that you are going to encounter in day-to-day pen test scenarios is TCP and UDP. Okay, I told you about that. FTP is transfer protocol, which runs on the port 21. And the second one is SSH. SSH means secure shell. That you know that if you use SSH, you could remote login into a machine. Next is Telnet. Okay, Telnet runs on port 23. It's not secure. Okay, if you ask to there are chances very low that you see two machines communicating between Telnet, because it's not secure. That's why Telnet is replaced with SSH. You could use Wireshark to sniff the packets that's flowing through machines that uses Telnet to communicate with each other. Okay. Now SMTP. SMTP means Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, which is used for mail service. POP3 and IMAP are also used for these mail services. Okay. DNS means Domain Name System. Okay. You can also see there's a UDP for DNS. And yeah, now I have SMB. SMB means the File Share Protocol, where SMB is the great port for exploitation. If you ever just perform a Nmap scan and you saw this SMB, the first thing that I recommend you go ahead and explore is SMB. Then you go after the other ports. Okay, SMB is a port that can be, chances are there that you find SMB exploits are very high. Okay. Now, telling about UDP, you have DHCP and DNS. Well, I told you chances are very low that you encounter the UDP port, and scanning with Nmap is very difficult in case of UDP, because there is no guarantee that Nmap scans work successfully in UDP. Okay, because if you send a packet, the packet may reach there, and you have no confirmation that the packet may reach there. Only confirmation when the UDP, when the other machine on the other side starts talking to you back. Okay, that's about common ports. I think our Nmap scan must be finished by now. Okay, as we can see, our Nmap scan is finished. So how does Nmap perform the scan? So Nmap, I told you about three-way handshake, right? Which post a sends sync packet to server, and server sends back sync message, and the host then sends a ACK message. But at the last step in the three-way handshake, it doesn't send ACK packet back, but it sends a reset packet back, which means that they have successfully cancelled the connection. It's just like you're going to your neighbor and say hi, and your neighbor responds hi, and you say, "Oh, I'm not interested in starting a new conversation." Okay, just you wanted to know if your neighbor is there or not, or if you wanted to know if that particular port was open or not. So you can see there are TCP/22. I told you SSH, which is used for remote login, 80 a server running, and also RPC bind, and also our favorite port. Okay? We have SMB open, and also we have we have also 139 SMB open. Okay, and also we have 443, and also we have some information about the host script results. Okay, now there is a server running. The first thing you could do is go out to the server and see what does the server says about it. 168.1.9 and hit enter. So yeah, so you can see it shows that it is Red Hat Linux, and also see the fact that it is powered by Apache, and it is a default documentation page of a Apache server. Okay, there's nothing much. So according to a hacker, when you start to think like a hacker, I told you the first thing that you would be enumerating is SMB, right? As you can see, the SMB isn't releasing what version it is running. So in order to find that what version it is running, I'm going to use a tool called MSF console. So what is MSF console? So MSF console is a tool that is owned by Metasploit. So people see Metasploit when it comes to exploitation. So let's hit MSF console and hit enter. So you could also run service PostgreSQL start in order to start the Metasploit service, because Metasploit means it's a collection of database of exploits, auxiliaries, payload, encoders, and many other stuff. There are also scanner version, which we are going to see in a little bit. That's why I load Metasploit MSF console in order to see if I can detect the version of SMB using the auxiliary scanner module. It may take some time to boot up on your machine, depending on how much memory you have, or how much RAM that you have allocated to your machine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to perform the service version scan of the SMB. So you can see Nmap didn't successfully return about the SMB version. It only told me that it's running Samba SMBD. But that isn't the thing that I want. I want what version it is running. So I could go ahead and exploit the machine, right? Okay, let's just wait for some time. Let's just see if it successfully returns you the information, or if it successfully give you something that is of use to you. So you could go ahead and search for if there exists any exploit or vulnerability to that particular version. Okay, as you can see, it says that it's starting at Metasploit framework. Okay, let's just wait. One thing, you can go ahead and use any platform you like. I like Kali. You could also use Parrot OS or other pen testing distros. I often see people sometimes using Windows also for pen testing with the help of WSL and other softwares. Okay, you could go ahead and use any tool you want. Okay, and now I have MSF console loaded. So the first thing that I'm going to use is you can type in command use. So you want to use some kind of module, right? I told you it's a database. You want to first locate something. So I'm going to say use auxiliary. So scanner and say assembly. We need to type what we want to scan our assembly. So if I hit double tap, and I can see what all options I have. So if you take a close look, I have also an assembly version that we are going to do, right? We want to detect the assembly version. So I'm going to type in assembly underscore and hit tab and hit enter. And yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. And I could go ahead and type in once more auxiliary scanner assembly underscore version. Okay, now that you can see that I'm changing into auxiliary module. I'm using scanner assembly version. Now let's see what all options that I have to set in order to get the assembly version. Note that whenever you are using Metasploit, you are doing a manual exploitation. You are doing a auto exploitation and you are not doing a manual exploitation. Okay, I will tell you more about it when we come to exploitation of this machine. And we know that rhost means remote host, the machine that we are attacking. That stands with the IP address 192.168.1.1.9, right? We know that. And now I'm going to hit enter. Now, if you take a close look, you can see the only parameter that was required was the rhost. If you take a close look at assembly path and assembly domain, you say no, we don't need that in order to run this particular module. But here it says thread, but it is defaultly specified to 1. Okay, let's just keep that way. And you could go ahead and hit the command run in order to run the module. And we should wait for some time, but I don't think it would take this much time as nmap took it to run service version scan. It's just only particularly focusing on a particular port, right? Assembly. And as you could see, yeah, Metasploit successfully revealed what version of assembly it is running. We are happy that we could get the version as Samba 2.2.1a. And that's a good sign. That's a very good sign. So we could go ahead and type in here. Let's type in Susploit. Susploit is a tool that is linked with Exploit TV. For one thing, you could go ahead and type in if say Samba 2.2.1 exploit, anything that you like. Okay, but I'm going to now use, so since this is a first thing that I would like to run is a Susploit. So I'm going to specify it as Samba itself and specify that 2.2 point. Okay, let's see if there is a particular vulnerability for that. But you can see that there is a lot of information that is showing here. And let's see, our version is what we have a right exploit for that particular version, right? If you take a close look, you can see that there is one specified called trans to open, which is a Metasploit module. It is also mentioned here. Also, you can take a look at the extension of that file, and you can see it's .rb. Whenever you do a Susploit against a particular version, and you see that it's running, it's written in Ruby, which means that it's a Metasploit version. Okay, whenever you do a Susploit, it's also mentioned here. You can just for your information, I just told you that you could go ahead and look at the look at in which language they exploit this written, and you can see it is named as trans to open. So let's just go ahead and search here. So we have already loaded Metasploit and there is no need for Metasploit once more. So I'm going to say, hey Metasploit, do you have anything that's called trans to open? There's a there is a bunch of data. There's a trans to. Yeah. Now there is we limited our results to 4 of them. So only thing that we know it is a Linux machine that is running. And we know that's a Linux machine running. And we could say use one, or you could say go ahead and copy this exploit example trans to open and paste it there. For time being, I'm using one. But hit enter. So we did, so the following steps that we are going to do, we have already done that during the scanning section. First thing, we are going to show options on what options we need to set. You can see that we need to set the R host value. So what is R host? 192 point, sorry about that, 192.168.1.9, and hit enter. And you could, it automatically detected the R port as 139, and you could say start. And let's just wait for some time. And it's trying to return the address. And as you can see, the interpreter section is keep closing. So what is an interpreter section? I will explain you in coming lecture. Okay. And if as you can see, it's not stabilizing. It says that it's dying, it's closed, it's dying. Well, why is that so? Well, in order to understand why it's failing, you need to understand another concept. That's called staged versus non-staged payload. So every pen tester must know, if they are using Metasploit, what's the difference between a non-staged and staged payload, right? So as you can see, it says staged versus non-staged payload. So non-staged payload sends an exploit shellcode. So what is an exploit shellcode? I will show you. So sends an exploit shellcode at once, and it says it's larger in size and won't work always. And whereas stage sends payload in stages and can be less stable. Okay. And it says that, for example, it's Windows /interpreter /reverse underscore TCP. And here is reverse and /interpreter underscore reverse underscore TCP. So I hope you understand what's the difference between staged and non-staged. From this itself, you might know why the exploit failed, right? Yeah, I think just because it was running on staged payload, because staged payload has high success rate. And you can see that in non-staged, it is clearly specified that it is larger in size, and it is just so that it won't work out always. So I think that's why the first thing that you need to know, that you need to do, is go ahead and say show options again. So Metasploit understood that your exploit didn't work, and it will show you more options from the last time. And yeah, so you could see that it says Linux x86 interpreter / reverse underscore TCP. This is a staged payload. We see that staged payload has higher success rate, but here, unfortunately, it failed, right? The interpreter sections, or the powerful interpreter sections, are just more powerful shells, okay? It gives more access to the victim's machine. So let's just go ahead and change the payload. In order to do that, I'm going to say set payload, and we are now going to change the payload version. Okay, so I'm going to say set payload Linux and hit, we don't know what payload to run, so I'm going to hit double tap. Okay, I have a list of payloads. So as you could see, there are several more TCP interpreter staged payloads, because I told you staged payloads are more successful than the non-staged payloads. So I could be running this Linux x86 version. Okay, yeah, I will be running this Linux x86 shell reverse TCP. Why? Because it's a non-staged payload, and we did try staged payload and it failed drastically. So I'm going to use the payload that is what you could guess, right? That is non-staged, because there is no slash here. There was a slash, like as you can see that here it is specified that the x/x86 meter slash, and there is no slash and there is no meter section defined. So that which means that you would get a generic shell access to the machine. So if we have access to the machine, then we could go ahead and download files from the victim's machine. We could do many things. But if we have interpreter section, we could do everything, which means that powerful interpreter section is so high. So I will show you the power of interpreter session in just a few seconds. Okay. Before that, let's just try to gain access to the objects machine. So if you take a peek at what our challenge specified, so it is clearly specifying that, yeah, they acquire the root access to the machine, the objective of this game. And it is also specified that it is level 1 and it's a penetration and assessment environment. Okay. You need to acquire root, right? So I'm going to set the payload as NX86 shell underscore meter underscore, so shell underscore reverse underscore TC value tender. And yeah, now let's just do show options. Now you can see that our payload option has changed it to a generic shell. And if you hit run, let's see if that works. And it says it started a reverse TCP handler and it's trying return address. You could see that it says this command shell 5 is open. Let's just check that out and say who am I? This says your root. Okay, so we need to verify your root on the correct machine. In order to do that, I'm going to specify the command host name, and it says that yes, you are running key objects level 1. That means I was successfully rooted the machine, and now I have gained access to the machine. Okay, now that I have gained access to the machine, I could perform anything I want. I could go ahead and download files, transfer the files to the system. So that's the case how you generated or you achieved root in this machine. You could go ahead and ls do anything that you want in this machine. So we successfully rooted the key objects machine. Now, as we have successfully rooted the objects machine, I just wanted to share with you the power of interpreter set. So we saw that interpreter here. We also saw that when we explained the staged payload concept. I need you to understand what's the power of interpreter section. In order to show that, I'm going to use a tool that's called MSF Venom. So MSF Venom comes pre-installed in Kali Linux, and also when you install MSF console, it comes MSF Venom is automatically installed to the computer. So it is all owned by exploit TV and everything. I think it's all under the offensive security. So I'm going to specify MSF Venom. As you can see, there are a lot of options that you can go through. The one of the main parameter that I'm going to use is stack payload, and yeah, payload. You need to specify what payload you are running. So I'm going to specify stack p. In order to specify what payload I'm going to run. So the payload that I'm going to run is Windows/64. So how I know that I'm going to attack a 64-bit machine, but I'm going to attack my host machine. That's why. Okay, I specified x64. And I need a meter intersection, right? I need to get a meter intersection from bouncing back from the attacking machine, from my machine, that I need a meter intersection from the host machine to back to my machine, right? Meter means more. I have more access to the computer. I have more permissions in the computer. If for example I'm going to attack my Windows machine, then I'm going to have more access than what a generic shell could do to on my computer. Okay, I'm going to specify meter reader. Okay, and I want a reverse TCP connection. I also specify that. Okay, meter reader. Now I want to specify what if you are going to generate the shellcode and execute on the target machine, then the target machine wants to connect to our machine, right? Then we want to specify what address it wants to connect that. In order to do that, I have specified a flag called localhost, lhost. And now you need to copy your internal IP address in order to generate the shellcode. And I'm going here and paste that, and L port. You also need to specify the L port. The port is 444. Okay, and you could say tacker to be exe, that is output format, and you could output it as exp.exe, which means an exploit.exe. You could go ahead and hit enter. It may take some time to generate the shell code. And what we are going to do is that we want to transfer this to the machine. Okay. Now there is no exploit in my machine since it is updated. So we are going to manually perform this. In order to do that demonstration, first I'm going to turn off my virus and threat protection. Why? Because if my virus and threat protection is turned on, then my antivirus would capture that and it would automatically block that. Well, why I'm turning on my virus and threat protection, right? Well, I told you, well, there are certain evasion techniques or where you can hide the payload. Where there are several techniques where you can hide the payload and show that it is a useful file, but actually it's not. There is a payload that is connecting back into the attacking machine. Okay. Now that I'm not going to tell you about what tool that I use for evasion, because even if I told you, that tool will get uploaded to Wireshark, and the next day that when you're trying to do this particular evasion technique, it may not work because you find that it is not useful. That's why several, if you Google out evasion techniques, payload evasion techniques for Windows antivirus, then you can get a ton of them. But I'm not giving you. I'm not saying that for sure that all the evasion techniques work. Well, some of them works. Veil evasion, that's a great evasion tool that you can use. It works very well, but not on the updated Windows. Okay, not on the latest Windows. It works on the Windows 10 release versions and also Windows 7, I suppose, and Windows 8. Okay, so yeah. Now that we have generated our shell code, we are going to transfer to our host machine. But note that if it is having a antivirus software running, it would surely capture that. What I recommend is trying evasion techniques where there are several. Go to Google and use the evasion techniques. And make sure that you go to virus.net and check that if your exploit that you generated is a is Wireshark able to detect any malicious content in that file? If no, then which means that your payload is successfully obfuscated and it would execute on the attacker's machine, on the victim's machine, without any any blocking of the malware. You would successfully get a reversal back. And as you can see listed, and there's a code exp.exe. In order to transfer this to the in my machine, I'm using with the help of Python simple HTTP server. You could also use a local host cache, but I like it using this way. Okay, simple HTTP and hit tab, and it automatically completed on port 80 and hit enter. What it does is that it automatically opens a server Active Directory that is specified. You need not copy that particular file to www. Okay, so if I could go ahead and open this link in my Mozilla Firefox, but in practical scenarios you don't have access to the victim's machine, right? So consider that somehow you spawned his shell. So somehow you spawned his shell. And for example, then you have access to his command prompt by an exploit that you found on his machine, and you exploited. Now that you want to escalate your privileges to repeater section, then the one thing that I use, and now the only thing that you have in your hand is this shell. And you could use a tool that is called certutil. Well, what is certutil? Certutil is used for what? File transfer, just like wicket and curl in Linux, right? So I'm going to type in partial.exe that will load my PowerShell. Okay, now that I'm going to insert into tag F in order to show that, and tag split and tag URL cache. It is split and URL cache are to specify that I'm trying to transfer this file with the help of URL, and you need to split the particular parameter. That if I'm going to specify HTTP and yeah, and HTTP, and I need to know what is my IP address because that's where my server is running. And sudo if config and hit enter and copy password. And it's 192.168.1.8. You should go ahead and paste that here. Control should be control. Sorry about that. So to and split URL cache HTTP and for 190.168.1 yeah, 1.8 and my file which is exe.exe, right? I'm going to hit enter and it will show that if that, yeah, as you can see it was online, that my host was online and it is successfully transferred the file using URL. Let's just try to ls and verify that our file is there. So there are a bunch of files that are showing up. Let's just take a look if our exploit is here. So maybe it's, yeah, I think so. exp.exe right here. Now that we have our exp.exe, we need to set up a listener on our machine. For that purpose, we could use our MSF console that we just used. Should go ahead and go see, or we could say exit from this. Okay, say use one exploit multi. Now you need to say payload. So one important thing that you need to know that you need to specify the same payload that you used to generate shell code like 64 and sorry about that. Whenever you hit tab, it just auto completes and freezes for reader slash reverse underscore TCP. I hope that's successful. Let's just try to auto tab. And yeah. Now I'm going to set my R host. That's so let me click show options. Yeah, I need L host. That's my listening host, right? Now I need to set my IP address as listening host from 92.168.1.9 and my L port I specified 444 as the listening port. I told you that you could set any L port as your value, but only thing is that when you set up the module exploit multi-handler, or whenever you set up a listener, you need to specify the correct L port, correct L host, and the correct payload that you used when generating visual code. Okay. And hit run. Now that you can see it started a reverse TCP handler, which means that it is listening for any connection that's coming to this port. So we generated our payload to bounce back the CMD, bounce back a mutant section from this machine, that is the host machine in this case, back to your attacker machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say exploit.exe, hit enter. So you can see it's successfully executed. Let's see if we spawn back a mutant section. Well, you can see that mutant section command is open, and you could say who am I to verify that we have successfully split. So I could say shell and say, as you can see, it successfully got the user's job details, and then they could say who and hit enter and say is MSI job details. I could say exit from this, and I will show you what all features do you have. You type in help, and you can see you could do a bunch of commands. This is what I was talking about. You could evaluate commands, you could audio output commands, you could perform webcam commands, user interface commands, almost everything. There's a ton of options that you can do easily by specifying just a command. You could perform hash dump if you want, but in this case, I haven't the correct what you I haven't correct privileges to do that. In order to do that, you need to escalate more privileges. If you type in hash dump, it will not work. I told you. Okay. Now you can record your mic, play anything on the target machine, change the user's password, screenshot, everything. That's why I told you having a interpreter section is means having a more privileged user. You could download files. Literally anything in that target machine. Okay. So that's it. I hope you learned something from this course. We learned about IP address, we learned about small networking things, we learned about Metasploit, we learned about listening ports, we learned about three-way handshake, right? We learned about Nmap. We saw how the result of Nmap looks like. Here we learned about how to enumerate things, right? That's pretty much it. Okay. If you want to continue, you could also use several sites out there. You could use Try Hack Me, which is a great beginner-friendly platform, in order to gain more knowledge about how ethical hacking or pen testing is done in real-world scenario. Okay, there are several rooms that you could try, just like Kioprix. There is no need to download and use. You could use it in the online servers. So I also showed you how to root Kioprix. Okay, this is just a very basic. I just wanted to show you how real world pen testing happens. I hope you understood something. Okay, that's all. Thanks for joining this section.